Neil, I've been in public service in this country on and off now for 15 of the last 21 years at great sacrifice to my family, both in terms of my time and my ability to make a living. So I got off the stage to Mary Pat and she said, "Where's all that money that you were bought and paid for?" I'd like to see what that part of it is.
Chris Christie, much like other Republicans on the debate stage during the first GOP primary debate, was real salty following Vivek Ramaswamy's attacks about how each one of them are bought and paid for, a reference to the corruption that has become a mainstay in our political system. Now, I gotta comment real quick on Chris Christie's whining about how his political life has been a great sacrifice to his family and to his finances, because he's doing fine financially, okay? It was hard to find more recent numbers, but back in 2015, the Washington Post looked at his finances based on the reporting that he had to do of his finances due to his political career. He's got to report this stuff. And so Christie and his wife, Mary Pat, reported $699,000 in income on their 2013 tax return. According to calculations by the Economic Policy Institute, an income of $385,000 puts you in the national 1%. You'd need to make about $539,000 to qualify for New Jersey's 1% club. Christie fits the bill in either case. But what about his net worth? Well, in 2009, Christie estimated his net worth to be $3.8 million in response to a request from the Newark Star Ledger. Let's assume that his investments have done okay since then and round it to an even $4 million. Again, this is from 2015, so the numbers are very likely even higher than that.
Likely very much higher.
Exactly. Again, no matter how you measure it, he's doing well. He didn't make big financial sacrifices to be a politician, please. Okay, so.
Yeah, so look, there's two parts of this that are horse crap. So one is the personal wealth, and you think like, dude, even if you take the lowest number, $3.8 million, to all of us, that's a ton of money,
Hell
right?
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
But Chris Christie probably literally thinks it's not, because he's surrounded by people who are so incredibly wealthy. All of his donors, they give like $50,000, $1 million, all these things to politicians and to a bunch of politicians. You know why? Because they have billions. And so for him, he's like, what? I only have $4 or $5 million. I'm broke compared to these guys. No, brother, you don't know the corruption that you're swimming in. Well, he does know, okay? But he loses perspective on it. And look, he shut down a beach when he was governor, saying, oh, it's an emergency. And then they took pictures of him lounging on the beach with his family.
Insane.
Okay.
Just so bad.
So he's had all of these privileges, and he's not alone. Look, the Clintons went into politics broke. By the time Hillary Clinton's running in 2016, the Clintons are worth $150 million.
I mean, come on, guys.
How did that happen?
No, come on, guys. Look at members of Congress. I mean,
Pelosi's,
the brazen
Feinstein,
insider trading that happens with members of Congress. Come on. Anyway,
the Bushes, etc.
But it's such a sacrifice.
Such a sacrifice.
Yeah.
But I want to get to this. But that's not the main part of it, believe it or not.
It's not.
It's the campaign contributions. And so the campaign contributions lead to power, fame, and then eventually the wealth that we're talking about here. But the campaign contributions is the bribes, That's what Vivek Ramaswamy meant by bought and paid for. It's the only thing he was right about in the debate. And pretending that those bribes don't affect you is hilarious. And notice how everyone in media goes along with Chris Christie, whether it's Fox News, CNN, ABC, it doesn't matter. They're all like, oh yeah. No, we don't see it at all.
Well,
no one challenges them on the bribes.
Just wait for that, because Scarborough will be making an appearance. But before we do, obviously we're gonna look into the numbers, right? Because Chris Christie claims he's not bought and paid for, that he wasn't part of the political corruption that we like to talk about and complain about on this show on a regular basis. But was that true? Well, let's take a look at who funded his 2016 bid for the presidency. During his short-lived 2016 presidential bid, Christie and the PACs that supported him spent a whopping $32 million. The biggest source of funds was the America Lead Super PAC, which spent $18 million supporting Christie. Around $9.3 million of its funds came from 7-figure donations from billionaire donors. let's break it down even further. Here are some of the top donors to Christie's 2016 campaign. You have 0.72 Asset Management, which is a hedge fund, which, Jesus Christ, over $6 million.
Of course.
Oh my God. Quicken Loans, 1.2 million. Buckley Muthing Capital Management, financial advisory company, over $1 million. Fireman Capital Partners, a private equity firm, over $1 million. Okay, so when Vivek Ramaswamy talks about being bought and paid for, this is what he's referring to. However, I also want to note, Vivek Ramaswamy made his fortune through the biotech industry, through the pharmaceutical industry. He is basically funding his own campaign. In the first quarter of this year, he donated over $10 million of his own money toward his own campaign. So look, you can argue that he's not corrupted by corporations the same way that these other politicians are. But the way that he has made his wealth, in my opinion, also kind of informs the kind of policies that he would be promoting on economic issues, should he actually make it to the White House?
Well, in a sense, Ramaswamy is saying cut out the middleman. The hedge fund guys are funding Chris Christie. Well, I am a hedge fund guy, and that's partly how I made my money. So I'll just do this, and that way I don't have to buy Chris Christie, which is, by the way, very similar to the argument that Donald Trump made and won on back in 2016.
No, but guys, this is why you should be a little bit worried, and I am, because the way I see Ramaswamy is he is a smarter and more sophisticated Donald Trump.
Yeah, so look, he's got issues. He doesn't have enough name recognition. The media is going to pummel him on lack of experience, and maybe that breaks through the older Republican voters.
I don't think so.
But none of this is relevant for him unless Trump's out of the race. Because if Trump is in the race, he keeps saying Trump is his daddy. So why would anybody vote for this, for the guy, the copy of Trump, when you could just vote for the real deal? Also,
Trump has not yet directed his ire toward Ramaswamy because he hasn't really felt that Ramaswamy is a threat to him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, remember, he was very friendly with DeSantis until DeSantis became a formidable opponent in the primary. But if now all of a sudden DeSantis is flailing and Ramaswamy is experiencing a pretty giant rise in the polling, I think Trump is very likely to direct his ire toward him. So we'll see how that plays out.
Again, last night I said this, but Ramaswamy said during the debate that Trump was the greatest president of the 20th century. Then brother, why are you running against him? So like, don't mistake our analysis on how Chris Christie did or Vivek Ramaswamy did for thinking that we're on their side. We are not 1% on their side, and they're all full of crap. And the Chris Christie example is a great one. I don't know what he's talking about, bought and paid for. Meanwhile, he stuffed his pocket full of $32 million when he was running last time, all from Wall Street.
And by the way, get a load of this, you're gonna love it. Chris Christie started his own lobbying firm. Okay, so
of course.
After leaving office in 2018, Christie became a lobbyist and started his own firm. Christie 55. According to disclosures filed with the US Senate, the firm earned $1.3 million from 7 clients. Most of the firm's lobbying was on behalf of health sector clients on issues related to public health legislation amid the COVID-19 pandemic. And so this is what we're referring to. This is what Ramaswamy was referring to. It is a talking point that resonates with voters across the aisle, which is why it worked when Trump called out politicians for it, and it's gonna work when Ramaswamy does it. That's why you have Christie and other Republicans up in arms over this attack, and they're not the only ones up in arms. Another Republican, Joe Scarborough, is also up in arms about it. Let's watch.
Gotta say, Ramaswamy was going around. He really was insulting everybody's bought and paid for. What I found in politics is when you have somebody going around the stage saying everybody's bought and paid for, they're the one who's bought and paid for.
Cenk, I'm just gonna let you have it. Go ahead.
Of course, Scarborough was a slimy Republican politician who was also bought and paid for with millions of dollars in campaign contributions. By the way, I've said this 100 times, where do the campaign contributions go? They go into ads. Where do ads go? Ads go to pay Joe Scarborough's a paycheck, which is considerable. So all those cable news companies, all the local news companies, they make a killing from political ads? Why do you think they're constantly kissing the politicians' asses? Do you think the politicians are like incredible programming? They get great ratings. Outside of Trump, they get terrible ratings. But they're always oh, the honorable Lindsey Graham, what does he think? Oh, well, they're having a debate. Are they? Are they? No, they're just getting bribed, just like you got bribed, Scarborough, when you were a politician. And those bribes now come directly into all of the media guys' pockets. $17 billion spent in the last midterm cycle. Almost all of that going into media. That is why corporate media lies to you 24/7, pretending they're having real debates over real policies. No, it's all theater. They get bribed and they do exactly as they are told. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.